Hello and welcome to the Scarpagara War. We're recording this match review on the evening after the day before, a day that saw a horrendous showing down on the south coast, an afternoon which saw County lose 4-1 to a Plymouth side who were low on confidence, having lost 5 out of their first 6 league games following relegation from the Championship. Yeah, I'm a bit sad, as you can see, and I think Dan said last week it was a therapy session. Heaven knows what this one's going to be like, but I'm joined by Dan Culverwell, I'm joined by Steve Barsley and Dan Johnson, and we're going to try and make some sense of that performance, a performance that so much wrong with it, and it's going to be pretty hard. I mean, we've said it's going to be 50 minutes. We're going to try as hard as possible to keep it down, but we'll see. So, Dan Culverwell, if you can just take us through the starting 11 and your sort of thoughts on that.
Bit hit miss. What formation you can pick out? If it's 4 at the back, at 5 at the back, you can obviously please comment what you think it was. But Corey in goal, Connolly, Onyango, Pye were your defensive three, I'll say. You had Osborne as a left wing back. You had Fevs sort of like as a right wing back pushing up. Norwood and Moxon in midfield. And then you had Diamond, and then up front you had Wootton and Lowe. So it's one of them ones. I think everybody will probably see a different formation. Obviously, the new lad Osborne came in. I thought he was going to play more central midfield, but he weren't. He was definitely a left wing back. And apart from that, obviously Onyango came in as well for sort of Brad Hills, I would say. But apart from that, no real shocking really in that starting 11 for me. Maybe Lowe getting a start, but you could argue he deserved that.
Was it not a shock to see 2 up front? That was my shock.
Yeah.
Not particularly, no. I was just more confused about how many were playing at the back, because I thought before the match Onyango was more of a defensive midfielder than he was a centre-back, and then he comes on the pitch and he's about 6'4", isn't he? So
yeah, he played right centre-back for us a lot last season, though. So he did play there a few times.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is that we played the system and there wasn't really a dedicated left and right back. They just, obviously Osborne stayed out left all the time, but Fevrier just seemed to roam about a bit. I don't know. Just before the match, me and my dad, we were just really confused as to what the hell was going on at the back.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Onyango being so comfortable on the ball, I can understand why he was playing there to bring the ball forward. And we saw that quite a few times, didn't we? Sort of broke the lines, came into midfield, even nearly scored a goal at one point for goal. I mean, what the hell he was doing in the penalty area, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so it seemed very fluid, but it was very much a brand new look defense, like it has been pretty much every single game. There's no stability in that back line, is there, apart from Adai, Conley and Pye, and then you can just rotate Alowu, you can rotate Hills in. Now Onyango's come in. You've got Osborne that's playing instead of Dodson, who's now injured. You've got O'Keefe. There's just no consistency there, which I think is causing us so many problems. We conceded 4 goals. Let's just hear a quick 30-second clip on what Dave sort of thought about that.
Concede the goals that we've conceded today, we've got absolutely no chance. You can't make the mistakes that we've made. And listen, you can look at different things. I've said before, you'll always analyse goals against you, and opposition might think it's something that's worth. They'll think the second goal's a good goal, well worked from them. But again, there's people not done the jobs from our perspective, and to do that once is hard enough at this level. To do it 4 times is impossible, and to stop anything around winning games, that cannot happen.
So let's just go straight into this first goal, seeing as it was so soon into the game. Potential foul on Wootton, but that's not the main talking point, is it?
Absolutely not. I think Adai absolutely needs to come and claim that. And I think that Wootton has to be stronger and position himself better, because it was just an absolute shambles.
And let's face it, Dave, said in his post-match, "I'm not going to call anybody out," and then proceed to spend 20 seconds calling Adai out for not coming to claim that cross.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
corner.
he kind of contradicted himself there, didn't he?
Yeah, he was trying so hard to keep a lid on it. You could just see that underneath he's absolutely seething.
Yeah.
With the way that his players are not applying themselves, and I think he will go into battle for you if he sees that you're doing the same for him. And I think the frustration that it's all over his face. He just feels like these players, for whatever reason, are not taking his game plan into matches, and that's super, super worrying.
Yeah, that first goal was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? I mean, it's like I think Corey, like you said, Dan, I think Corey should have come for that. I think he needs to be commanding his 6-yard box better. I also believe Woods was fouled. If you watched him, he gets dragged. But at the same time, Woods is 6'2", built like a brick wall. I felt like he'd felt the tug and probably went down a little bit too easily. And I think as a result of that, the ball's gone in. It was a foul, but at the same time, you know, if Corey had come for it, maybe he could have owned that box better. But it's just a very soft goal to let in, wasn't it?
They hadn't even had a shot at that point either, so I think that even adds insult to injury, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the really funny thing with that is if you watch the player who had been tugging Wotton's arm afterwards, he goes off, he wheels away celebrating as if he'd scored it himself. Like his teammates like sort of crowd around him like, well done. So they obviously knew that his impact on Wotton, that pull,
I mean,
made that goal.
Let's get this right. And this is no disrespect, because I'm not saying this because of the scoreline. Plymouth played like a League Two team. They were only interested in set pieces, long throws, long balls.
Yeah.
Very industrial, no footballing elegance about them at all. And you could argue they weren't the better team. We just were that bad. We allowed them to play. And it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking on a county perspective. I'm not, like I say, the scoreline. I'm not. If we lose games, and we lose games plenty of times, and we've been beaten by better teams like Wickham last season, who played us off the park and got absolutely plaudits off us because they were absolutely fantastic. Even teams we've beaten and we've said we shouldn't have beaten them because they were the better team, got no problem. But Plymouth were a team that absolutely were devoid of confidence, devoid of anything. A goalkeeper that couldn't even pass the ball, just kept on kicking it out for a throw-in. And we allowed them I don't know. I just feel that we've cheated ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, watching the game, I was like, at no point. Well, the only time we'll come on to it later, but when we were 2 goals behind, I always felt we could easily get back into it if we turned it up a notch. Yeah. And I felt that was like, it wouldn't take much to get back into this game, and we could just steamroll at them, but we never really stepped it up again, did we?
I mean, when that first goal went in and we went 1-0 down, I'm like, all right, disappointed. It was a foul, but we're not in it. We're in this game. They're not. They've had, that was their, I think, first chance really. They didn't offer anything. It wasn't a case of, oh God, this is going to be 3 or 4 this game. Once that first goal in, I honestly thought, don't worry, we'll win it 3-1. We'll win it 2-1 at that point, because we were. For me, even though we weren't playing well, we were still the better team.
And this is a team that had lost five games. So, in fact, Lauren mentioned it on the preview show that potentially their fans maybe was it? Oh no, it wasn't Lauren. It was Nathan Lowe in his interview. He sort of alluded to the fact that, well, they're under pressure because they've had a really bad start to the season, and the fans could be hostile to us, but also to their own players. And it's so I bet Dave was like, get the first goal and they'll collapse like a pack of cards. And I said, and they would have done, but to give a team like that, such a soft goal, and then the second goal was a worldie, an XG of 0.02, like 1 in 50 that goes in. An absolute cracking hit from the lad. Swerves it past Onyango, and I know Corey's been. This is going to be a running theme, and I feel so sorry for him. But that second goal for me wasn't his fault. I think he was unsighted. I thought the standard place for that ball to go is going to be more straight at him, or maybe even towards his right hand side, and the guy just cuts across the ball, swerves it round on Yango's body and into the top corner. You're thinking, what the fuck? And I'm going to say, first half XG for them 0.02, and they score 2 fucking goals.
Yeah. It's like that shot that it might as well have been kicking the old Wembley flyaway ball. It moved that much. We were sat right behind it, watched it. People will say, yeah, Corey could have moved more, and I'm not going to argue, he may have done, but for me, the shot shouldn't have been allowed to be taken.
Come on, Dan Johnson, you're the goalkeeper here. Would you have saved that one?
I absolutely wouldn't have saved that. The swerve on that ball was utterly ridiculous, and you got to put your hands up to him for having that shot from there. And what you've got,
would you have put your hand up to try and get a hand to it?
Well, obviously, yeah. If as a goalkeeper, if the ball comes flying at your net, even if it's going just wide, you're diving and you're making sure. Which we'll come on to the third one about that as well. But your defenders, your midfield really has got to come out and has got to pressure him and has got to make him look for the pass rather than giving him the chance to shoot from there.
Yeah,
it just wasn't good enough.
I mean, I completely agree with what you're saying. I don't believe Corey's at fault for that goal. I do believe he could have put his hand up to try and get to it. I don't think he would have got to it, even if he put his hand up. But the issue with that goal was, if you watch it, it's a short corner from, I think it was a corner that shouldn't have been a corner, if I remember correctly. But it's a short corner. You've got Tyler Onyango marking the first guy. You've got Owen Moxon marking the second guy. Then the third guy is in Acres, and you see Jack Diamond, and I don't know if it's Jack Diamond's fault or not his fault, no idea. I don't know if he was marking someone else and saw the threat, but you've got this guy in acres of space, like 10 yards outside the area, allowed to move towards the area before he starts to close him down, then given the opportunity to unleash.
Yeah, and what's worse,
Crazy.
that wasn't their first short corner. They'd tried that a couple of times before that, and we were slow to react then. And it's like, come on, guys, you've had the warning. What were they trying to work out? That was a training ground exercise that they were doing, and the third time that I think third or fourth time they've done it, they've actually got their reward for it. Why aren't we waking up and switching on and being alert to that situation? Yes, the first time we get caught short, but God, you're professional footballers. How many times do you have to keep on doing it before you realise the danger and the threat?
So whose job do you think in the team that is? Should it be your commanding centre half saying you do that, or is it individual, like an individual? So Jack Diamond, if he's the closest guy, I don't know. Should he be sensing it, or should someone be pointing, saying, "Oh, oi, go and get him"? I don't know.
I think it's more of a structural thing. If you're defending a corner, you've got your centre backs, close to the keeper. You've got your full backs just wider, and then you've got your midfielders and your wingers specifically on the outside, and your midfielders on the inside. If you've got two players to press, it's probably your full back and a winger, maybe a midfielder. So it's whichever sided midfielder is to go and find that third man, and if he goes and gets the ball played to him, he's got to go out and he's got to pressure him.
So it's taking care of the space that you are in charge of, basically, and we think that's where that went wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time in the game that happened as well, but somebody's not done the job. And like I say, I'm mentioning Jack Diamond not because I think he was at fault, but he was the one that either identified there was a threat and tried to close it down, or he didn't do his job. I'm not quite sure, or someone else didn't do the job. But you cannot allow a player in a Stockport County team to have that much space on the ball just outside the area. It's ridiculous.
And like I say, the first time you can get away with it. Second time, you need a bit of a wake-up call. But that wasn't the first or the second time they tried that routine. And that is absolutely inexcusable. Ollie Ward-Norwood went on the other week about leadership and all that lot, and how he should be captain and stuff like that. That shows me there is no leaders on that pitch. I don't care how much experience Ollie Norwood's got. He shouldn't be captain after that performance. Carl Wotton shouldn't be captain because leaders grab hold of players at that point and go, this is enough, you get hold of him. And that is not what's going on.
Which goes back to the transfer policy that I've mentioned in the last however many weeks. Have we bought players now who are great young prospects? Even the loan players that we've got in, like Dodgson's super young. O'Keefe was not required at Barnsley, and their fans had some misgivings over him and his defensive ability. We've lost Noyle and Torre for those two. Okay. We brought in Lowe, who's super young, and he's replaced Tanto effectively in the team. You mentioned, Steve, you were surprised that Wotton and Lowe were a partnership in that game. Talk to us about that.
Well, I don't think it works for a start with the current setup in the team. You watch the way we're playing. We're not getting crosses into the box, decent crosses, and we're putting two forwards on there. For me, I honestly thought one of them would come off at half time because I felt like we need runners. I felt like we needed to be attacking the spaces, going down the channels and coming in that way, maybe cutting inside, unleashing shots away. But to have two up front for me in that game yesterday, it didn't feel the right thing to do. I was surprised he did it. I don't know if that's because Nathan grabbed two very good goals on Tuesday. And obviously we've seen what happens when we don't play Wotton. We're even lesser of a team. So I don't know what the thinking was. I mean, what do you guys think on this two up front business?
I think because we're playing five at the back and our midfield doesn't really have a presence, you have to replace one of those strikers for a midfielder.
100%, Dan.
Yeah.
100%.
There's no point in having two men up front, as you said, if they're not getting any service.
Yeah.
But what was frustrating is there was opportunities to cross the ball into the box plenty of times, even if it's crossing it from deep. But we still do that old habit of where we then trying to pass it across the field from one side to another, opposed to actually rather get into the byline, rather winning a corner or crossing it in, or just crossing it in from where you are.
But who's going to be supplying those crosses, Dan? From I mean, I thought Fevrier had a couple of decent crosses on his right foot, I think, as well. Jack Diamond, I mean, he is the absolute epitome of hot and cold, isn't he? I mean, one game you think he's an absolute world beater, the next he just runs down blind alleys constantly and makes the wrong choices, and he cuts inside when he should go in the other way, or he doesn't pass when he should. And I mean, what is going on? I mean, how can you build an attack around such an
every player? The professional footballers, if they can't cross a ball, they shouldn't be a footballer. This is the professional footballers. We're not talking about 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds or 15-year-olds. We're talking about grown men that are professional footballers. If they cannot pass a ball from A to B or cross a ball, then go and play baseball or go and play cricket. Because what we're talking about, they can't cross a ball. Every player should be able to, same again, take a penalty. Might not be a good penalty, but they should be able to take a penalty. They should be able to cross the ball.
If they can't take a good penalty, they may as well be playing cricket.
It's like saying, oh, well, he needs to learn to tackle better. They're fundamentals. You should be, to get to the level where they are now as a professional footballer, it's a given that they should be able to pass, tackle, cross, mark the man.
I thought Osborne was getting some joy, and they weren't the greatest crosses, but they were the best of the bunch, and he was getting a lot of joy down that left-hand side. I don't know if anybody kind of looked at the passing stats for the game, and Ollie Norwood absolutely ran the show in terms of passing stats, and number 2 was Osborne. And obviously they played together before. You could see them trying to link up. He was getting a lot of space down that left. He was putting crosses in, but the crosses weren't good enough. That was the issue yesterday. And
if you've got 2 centre forwards, the crosses have got to be better, because otherwise as Dan Johnson said, you're hamstringing yourself in midfield. If you put those 2 centre forwards on, they've got to have service, and they weren't. And the other thing that annoyed me as well is that those two do not know how to play with each other yet either. Don't know how long it's going to take to do it, but we know that Wotton and Tanto had an understanding. We're hearing constantly in interviews about how Lowe had this understanding with the Walsall big, tall centre forward guy, and that's how they scored so many goals in the first half of the season. Those two players, they need to bloody go and have a weekend away together or something. I don't know, like a spa day or something. Because at the moment I'd love to see how many times those two linked up in that game. I reckon it was less than 2. I really do. They were like 2 separate fucking ships just passing each other in the whole game.
With Osborne now, I noticed he was getting very frustrated because he was at acres of space screaming for the ball at times, especially when Corey had it and he was quick to get him, one long throw and he's off and he weren't getting the ball and they kept on kicking Corey. Corey kept on kicking it to the right hand side where Fevs was, where Osborne was on the left hand side. Absolutely in the acres, and you could just throw it out to him, and he wanted the ball, which for me was good because he weren't shirking away at any point. He wanted to be on the ball. He wanted to, he made himself available at all times, Osborne, to receive the ball, want the ball. Doesn't matter if he was smart or not, if he's free in space. For me, that was a really good positive thing. Well, one of the few positive things out of the day. And I know we ranting and raving a little bit about the game, but I just got to say as well, and as an away day goals, I thought it was absolutely excellent. The Plymouth stewards were brilliant. Before the game kicked off, their mascot, I think it's Pilgrim Pete, was going round, giving all the county kids, the little ones, lunch boxes with sandwiches in, snacks, drinks. All the stewards were welcoming. The food was really top notch.
To be honest, Dan, I couldn't give a shit whether the kids got a free sandwich from the fucking mascot. Okay, it's nice that it was a good away day. The sun was
trying
out.
to take the positives out of the day.
Let's have some more positives. It was a lovely day. It was a lovely sunny day on the south coast. Okay, and I bet you could get some fucking fish and chips, and it was like all great. But when it comes to county, that was an absolute shit show.
Yeah,
it really was. And I just want to say that I think the way that we've approached this whole transfer window this season is so scattergun that we're here just after the transfer window is shut, and we've put 2 more players into the first team, Onyango and Osborne, straight after they've come into the fucking team. That tells me we have got serious problems with the players that have been in the club for the last 3 months, the last 6 months, the last fucking 2 years, because you don't just chuck guys that have been in the building for 3 days in to make up 2/5 of your defence. You don't. He's taken Hills out. He's taken Oluwu out. He doesn't trust them, does he?
I understand not trusting Brad Hills a little bit after his recent performances, but
why? And I love Brad Hills. He's got another positive. How good is his hair? I'm so jealous. He's got beautiful hair. Like,
and you moan about me as sandwiches, and you're going on about hair.
Well, but I'm just saying. But yeah, Brad is under a lot of pressure now. He's come into the club. He's not the lone player that's like, oh, aren't we lucky to have a Norwich youth team player? 5-year contract. I'm sponsoring him this year, so I need him to come good.
He will do. I didn't expect any of those two to start the team, though, and there's a reason for that, because they both played 105 minutes on Tuesday, and I didn't expect either of them to start on Saturday because of that. I felt like he was going to give Hills a break because it's not been going so well for him lately, and like I say, they both played that quite. I don't know if anyone went on Tuesday, but it was I think it was 5 minutes injury time in the first half, another 10 minutes in the second half, and a bit extra. And I didn't expect either of them to start for that reason. So I was not surprised at that. But
that's a good point, Steve.
What I would say is when Tyler Onyango came in, I did feel like it was Tyler Onyango upgrade.
Yeah.
I thought he looked much better than last season.
Yeah.
I think the weird thing is that of the players that were on the pitch, I would say that our 2 best players were Osborne and Onyango.
Yeah, you're right. After that rant I've just had, I've on my notes, I've said one of those two is probably man of the match, to be fair.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe they do know what they're doing in the transfer window. I don't know.
maybe they do.
So obviously, as we get near to half time,
Yeah.
penalty or not penalty?
Never
Well,
penalty.
Well,
Can
the
I tell you
referee
what I
gave him
think?
about 5 warnings before he blew the whistle and gave a penalty. So yeah, they did that themselves to themselves. So
I'd had a few beers on the coach yesterday, and I was dying. And I was dying for the toilet when it got to half time. So I walked down the steps with a couple of minutes to go, and I was watching from the bit where you go into the food area, and I was watching, and I seen us get this corner, and I seen the referee doing a lot of kind of telling players before the corner took place, and I seen him take the corner, and it went out, and I thought, oh, that's a goal kick. So I went to the toilet, and then I come back and we scored a penalty. I was like, how the hell was that a penalty?
All I can think of is that someone told him in his ear that he'd fucked up on their first goal.
Yeah, I thought it was a leveler. It was a leveler.
It felt like a leveler to me as well. And
I think the basis for it was he told the group in the middle to stop pulling each other down about 4 or 5 times, and then as the corner came in, they pulled. Who was it? Was it like on Yango down or something? And he's just gone and given the penalty. I don't think it was on Nathan Lowe as.
Was it not? Right.
I don't think it was, because there was literally no contact on Lowe.
But there was more. This is the ironic thing. There was more contact on Wootton and that corner that Plymouth had for their first goal than there ever was for that. So, yeah, I think it was a bit of a leveler. But in the ground, we didn't know what was going on. We were sort of going, is he giving another corner? Is he giving a goal kick? He's giving a penalty. I think he's giving a penalty. And it took us until, literally before, because there was so much going on, that we had no clue what was going on, to be honest, in the away end.
If you look at the linesman, though, he was the one that gave it, I think.
Did he?
Because the referee pointed across to him like it was him. It was him, mate. So there we go. So 2-1 at half time. I mean, it was absolute fucking daylight robbery because we were so shit. And I was thinking, okay, we've got a reasonable chance here. Let's play a short transition and we'll get on to the second half. Okay, welcome back to the Scarf Bagara Wall. We're reviewing the Plymouth away game, the absolute shit show, the 4-2 defeat. And we've already had a therapy session on the first half. We're going to move into the second, and I'm going to tell you guys it doesn't get much better, unfortunately. So no subs at halftime. Any surprises with that, Dan Johnson? Or were you thinking we should have made some changes?
I think we should have made some changes. I think we should have taken one of the 2 strikers off because they were both very ineffective.
Absolutely.
I think we should have as I said in the first half, I think we should have strengthened our midfield with a more, you would call it a defensive substitution. I'd just say a tactical substitution, just to try and get a bit more joy out of the match.
Are we thinking Fiorini maybe after the 2 assists that he had in midweek?
Possibly. So it's something to try and get a spark out, because if he's had 2 assists midweek, he can try and make something happen when it counts. Give him a chance. See if he pulls his big boy pants up.
Yeah, it's disappointing that Corey came out of the changing rooms with his arms duct taped to his sides, I must admit. But yeah.
So okay, so let's I mean, so 46 minutes. So I'm 1 minute in. I'm thinking, okay, Plymouth probably are going to be a little bit short on confidence. If we can get the next goal, we're right in this. And I'm thinking 3 points. Prediction league, various people telling me, 3-2 in the prediction league. I'm going to win my 5 points in my prediction league on the Scarf Bagara Wall website. Check it out, guys. But 2 minutes in, they score another goal with an XG of 0.02. And what are your thoughts, Steve, on that one?
Well, it was very similar to the second goal, wasn't it? Obviously, it wasn't as good a shot, but the same thing happens again where there's a player left. Again, it was Jack Diamond that picked him up. And I don't want to single Jack Diamond out here because, like I said on the first one, I don't know if it was Jack Diamond spotting the danger and moving towards it. But again, he was the guy that was a little bit off the player, but he was the one trying to close him down. And then it was a shot that was decent shot, but And then Corey's beaten at his near post. I think he was a little bit unsighted. But at the same time, I'm expecting him to go full out, dive to the left, to the right of the post and try and get a hand to it. But he kind of didn't really move. What did you guys think?
It felt that he thought it was going wide. His sort of positioning, his mannerisms and his movement, I think he thought that was going wide.
But you can't tell me that a goalkeeper coach is saying, right, okay, if you think it's going wide, just stand there and just keep your fingers crossed. I mean, my concern that I'm now having with Corey is I'm just a little bit concerned on his natural sort of twitch reflexes and the way that his brain sort of thinks. I just feel that it's just a little, whether it's a millisecond or something that's just not. It's just making him think a little bit too slow to make that decision.
Or he thinks too much. I think he genuinely, I think, especially with corners and stuff.
Okay.
He thinks, should I come out for it? Should I not come out for it? And by the time you're doing that.
Yeah, but on a corner, you've got a bit of time to think, haven't you? My concern is
a little bit, but if you stand there and you think, should I dive for this? Should I not? It's probably already gone past you.
Exactly, and that's the problem.
And as a goalkeeper, if a shot's coming in towards you, whether it's going wide or not, if you dive and it's going wide, great. If you dive and it's not going wide, you save it.
Do we think he was unsighted on it?
Probably.
A little bit.
Yeah, but it's still a big distance. Yeah, same again is the argument, like you said, the argument is should you get the shot away, but same again, it's a big distance away. It's not like he's shot it from 6 yards out. He's 20 yards out, I think, when he hits it.
Something like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So, so that's 2 minutes in, 3-1 down, and I'm thinking it's going to be a hard, long second half. Made a few notes, passes going astray, very disjointed across the whole pitch, no link-up play with the centre forwards. Yeah.
But it was still at this point, you still felt if we could step up a gear, we could get back in it. You still felt that. But we continued with the two up front, which was just not effective. It was weird. You needed a midfielder.
The subs, so attacking subs wise, we only had Mothersill, Fiorini, and Bailey.
Yeah, you've lost Brecky because obviously international call-ups, so that's why he wasn't there. And then there isn't really much option, I think, once you took them three off, unless you start giving the younger lads opportunities. And you could argue maybe that was a game where they could have afforded to have one of the younger lads on the bench from Tuesday night.
Just on that, Dan, did you notice Corey Edwards was the extra squad player that wasn't used?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought he was excellent. He felt like we all hoped Cody Johnson was going to be very neat and tidy in midfield, but with a bit more something in his passing. He was very assured on the ball when he came on. Yeah, so it should be an interesting one, but no use to us in that game. I mean, Moxon has taken a little bit of a hammering. He probably plays one good game in 5 at the moment, and that is a concern for me. We've got no one challenging him as it stands at the moment. Dave did actually mention something in his post-match saying that he's a bit sick of people making the same mistakes over and over again, and we will see something change at the weekend. Who do we think that's going to be? Who do we think he's alluding to there? Would
it be easier to ask which players are going to play from that team on Saturday? Because I think you might get 5 or 6 changes in that starting 11. I don't think it's just one. I think there might be a few. And unfortunately, you go through...
Shit timing. It's Cardiff, though, isn't it? It's shit timing. They're riding high, aren't they?
Yep. Corey's in danger. Connolly's in danger. Pye's in danger.
Pye is not in danger. We've got no one to fill in for him.
I think he's not at the levels he was at last season. He's very reactive.
But how much of that is the players around him? Connolly is not a commanding centre defender in a back three. Hoskinen was that guy. That's what we brought him in for. That's what I'm sure of. Okay, yeah. Connolly, you can shove him out on the right maybe, but we've now got Hills that we think plays there. We've got Alowu that we think plays there. Onyango has been chucked into that position as well. Okay.
R2,
I need commanding central defender. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, can I just say on Connolly though, because we'll come on to the fourth goal in a bit, and we all know he's at fault for that. But I thought he did a great job yesterday marking that number 9. That number 9 was a danger man. He's the guy. Was he at Aldershot or something like that?
Yeah. He was at Aldershot with Brooke.
Yeah. He's a bloody good player. And Connolly had him all game in his pocket. He was looking after. He wasn't getting a look in. Obviously, he did eventually cost us a goal, and we'll come on to that. But barring that one mistake, I didn't think Connolly had a bad game. But I think you'll see Connolly out of the team, along with a few other people, like you say. And on Pye, what I think might happen is I think you might see Pye move to left back.
Yeah,
good shout. That would do me. What do we think about? So Dave has said in quite a lot of his post-match interviews recently about man for man sort of marking, and that's sort of what we're doing. We're asking our players to go man for man. I think we're losing far too many battles across the pitch doing man for man. So I don't know what the alternative is. Is it zonal or whatever it might be? Like, you look after your zone. I don't know whether that's also something else which is maybe costing us this year, whereby man for man we just don't seem to be as good.
I think that's more
as we were.
The way that it's set up. So I think it's more referring to defensive, because we push so many players forward. Wing backs are very high, so the back 3 or back 2 will literally be man on man at the back, and they will have to defend for their lives as such. I think that's where that sort of comment comes from, because we, as Dave wanted to do, we wanted XG to be higher, so we wanted to be playing further up the pitch,
which it isn't. It's nowhere near what it was last season.
Yeah. But I feel that's why we push forward more, which then leaves us open at the back, which has been, we're more open at the back without pushing forward more at the moment.
Yeah. No, I understand. So should we just talk about the fourth goal then, whilst we're here? May as well. What do we think?
That was the type of goal I expected them to win 1-0 with on Friday. That's the sort of goal that you'd expect a struggling League One team to go and nick one against you in the 80th minute, not to make it 4-1.
Route 1 won it, like goalkeeper. Yeah.
But all their goals were from set pieces, dead balls, weren't they? From the goalkeeper, from a corner, from a long throw-in. Like I said, they were very industrial, should we say, the way they played football. I thought they played. Obviously, this is a team. Was it 2-3 years ago? Went up as League One champions with, I think at that time a record number of points as well. So I was expecting something a bit more from them, and like I say, disappointing with their fourth goal. I don't know what Connolly's done. I don't know. We know what he should be doing. He should be going to put his head on.
He's misjudged it.
Yeah.
It's cost us, but yeah.
But the argument then at that point, it's just compounded. Actually, just a dreadful performance. He's not. I mean, it would be worse if that was the only goal in a 1-0 game. Then yeah, like you say, that would be gutting. But was the game really gone by then for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't gone at 3-1, I don't think. I think we could, if we'd have got a goal, I think we could have got...
Nothing was clicking at 3-1. At 3, I didn't see a way to get back into that game when we were 3-1 down.
It was all very safe, wasn't it? We were sort of, like, Plymouth sort of felt, okay, well, we probably won this if we just sort of defend now. And everything was in front of them. I don't remember us really getting any real chances in that period. Obviously, Wootton scored a nice goal with like fucking 2 minutes. I don't even know if you saw that, Dan. You said that you
No, I didn't see it. Like I say, it was the first time in probably since I can remember that we left the ground before the final whistle, and we didn't clap the players off the pitch. We left at 89 minutes. We heard the goal, as you do outside at the bus stop, waiting for the bus to get back to the train station. But yeah, we didn't see the goal, unfortunately. I've seen it on the highlights. Must admit, I mean, it's one of them ones, and Dave Challinor mentions it. It's easy to play football when there's 20 minutes to go and the other team's 4-1 up. But the highlight of that goal was obviously the difference that Fiorini made. Somebody, again, that we missed, that turns on the ball and looks lively, wants to carry it, wants to do something with it, opposed to just pass it in the same direction that they received it.
It feels like he's the only midfielder who wants to play the ball like through balls. So the other two midfielders that we got, Moxon and Norwood, they've got these eyes that are looking to the side constantly, and they're constantly passing it sideways, with the odd sort of like cross field sort of long ball there. But neither of them are looking to play balls through to feet to like the centre forward. So maybe Fiorini could be somebody who could fill a position for us, but for me, I don't know what you guys think. It's got to be in a 3-man midfield.
Yeah, he's not. The problems with Fiorini, he's not a scrapper. He's not. He's a lover, not a fighter, isn't he? He doesn't want to. He doesn't. When is it? It's a battle and it's a scrap and to win balls. He's not your man to have in that team. But if you need somebody with creativity and to pick that pass and pick the runner, same again. He's 3 assists now in 3 games, and they're virtually all identical, aren't they?
2 games.
2 games. And they're all virtually identical. And it's the simple things. It's not, like I say, it's not rocket science. What he's doing is not rocket science. Why is it taking him to come on the pitch late in the game to actually first through ball through the middle of the pitch, 2 feet, and gets it, turns, shoots, bang, goal? It's football is such an easy game.
On the we've got to play 3 in the middle. What I think tactically is that 5 at the back allows a bit too much pressure, and we can't play 2 up top because they don't click with each other, and it sacrifices the midfield. So I think just stick it in a simple 4-3-3.
Yep.
Have 2 fullbacks that can defend competently. Yeah. The 2 centre backs have to rely on each other. Don't try and change anything too much. Have your Fiorini to try and make the balls up, and then your Moxon and Norwood to make sure we've got the ball and can keep the ball. And have the wingers and whichever striker we choose just try and run at them and, cause problems.
It seems far too simple when you say it like that, Dan, but I think the majority of our fan base would agree with you. I certainly do. We seem to have the players that would suit that as well.
Exactly.
Look, we're at a crossroads, aren't we? Football's a funny game. It's, as Jim Greaves used to say. Things can change like that. And most seasons, you'll get a point when changes have to be made, and more drastic changes than what we used to. I feel like we're at that point. We're playing, it's a bit like losing to Wickham and then playing against Bolton the next game. We're doing it. We're playing Cardiff. We're playing top of the league. We've got to make changes. I hope he makes changes to the shape. I'd like to see 4 at the back. I think we've got to get Ben in nets because Corey needs a break. Ben deserves an opportunity. Fiorini deserves an opportunity. These players are sat there waiting in the wings. The players that are out in the team are not cutting it 100%. So it's time to give people an opportunity. I do think bringing Ben in will bring an extra degree of leadership from the back. I think he'll be marshalling that defence. I think we go to a flat back 4. I've kind of referenced it before. Maybe you go Pye at left back, you go Onyango at right back, you put Hills and Aloha in the middle too, potentially. You go for a 3-man midfield. You got the 2 experienced guys of Osborne and Norwood. Put Fiorini in front of him, and you have a front 3 of Kyle up front with 2 of either Fiorini, Fevre, and Mothersill. The other guys coming on in the second half. That's what I do. I mean, we're just football fans with opinions, aren't we? Don't mean any of us are right, but I do feel we're at a crossroads. I feel it's time to make a change and live by the sword, as they say. You sometimes these things work and sometimes they don't.
Sometimes playing a simpler football too works, because if you've got too many instructions for every single player, then they're all going to get lost a little bit. But if you just give them the freedom to play football in a structure that they know where everybody's going to be because it's a simple 4-3-3, then surely something's going to change and someone's going to go out and have a great game. Someone's going to go and make the difference.
Yeah, because the one thing at the moment is intensity is not our identity. No. It's not. And that is the whole ethos of the club. It has been for the last few years. We're playing intense football. We're playing on the press. We're playing high pace. We don't look anything like that now. So we need to make a change. and we need to get that back. And I'm sure Dave knows that. You know, he'll do what he thinks is right. Of course he will.
As we mentioned before, the loss of bait for me, that person in midfield that turns on the ball. So yeah, one of the things that always absolutely annoys me with footballers is the ones that just play it back in the direction they received it. We have too many players that do that. Even Ollie Norwood does that too often for me. He's great at them little 1-2s. As soon as he gets it, he passes it back to the player that he's passed it to him in the first place. Great, it's a successful pass. It makes your stats look great. But we need somebody that will turn on the ball and look towards the opposition goal and look for the runners and pass it forward. Obviously, the stats, yes, we'll have loads of passes, but actually, how many of them passes are sideways or backwards?
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, Bailey is actually somebody who generally tries to pass the ball forward. I think he tries to turn on the ball and look forward. My problem with Bailey is I'm not quite sure where his preferred position would be. Probably in a 3-man midfield, you could argue.
To the players that do that, they're the ones that will lose the ball. They're the ones that won't have the great pass completion. They're the ones that are taking the risk. They're not the ones that are playing safe. And unfortunately, yes, it might not work out. And Bailey is one of them ones where it doesn't work out and the crowd get on his back. But at least he's trying to be forward thinking and forward playing. Too many safe players.
Yeah. I like your team, Steve. I'm gonna go with that on my fan hub.
Yeah. Can I just say one more thing? And this isn't, you know, Corey. I like Corey, but it is time for a change. But over the last 5 years, we've had situations like this in virtually every season. In 2021-22, we started with Ben started the first 7 games, and Ethan Ross they couldn't wait to get Ethan Ross in. And he played 7 and it didn't work. Ben came back. We went on a great season. The next year, Ben started the first 2. Then Vic Yaros came in, played 11 games. Unfortunately, got injured at Salford away. That moment, Ben came on that pitch at Salford away. That season changed. The leadership he brought. The next season, I think he played the whole season. Then last year, he was it
Corey started
14 starts. Was it? Yeah. Corey got 14 starts. Ben came in. The season kicked on again. Now, I've seen some comments on kind of social media, yellow board saying, "Oh, Ben might not be cutting it this year." He's not been given a chance yet. He's not been given a chance. He's played League Cup, virtual trophy. He's coming in. He's playing with different. You know, he's not playing with the first team, is he? So he deserves a chance. And every time he's come into this club, into this team, he's spurred us on, and we've just looked so much more complete team with so much calmness and leadership, and he deserves a shot. And it might work, it might not work, but it's Ben's time to have a shot, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Corey will. I think at the moment Corey needs a break out of the team like last season, and he will come back. He'll get an opportunity like he did last season, and he'll come back better for it. Same with other players as well. I think other players need a little bit of a rest and needed that little bit of competition for their place, and others need to be given that. As Dave Challinor always bangs on about, you will be given an opportunity. If you're in this squad, in this club, you'll be given an opportunity. Some players on Saturday will be given an opportunity. Like we said last week about the midweek game with the young players. And they all took their opportunity in that midweek game. Saturday against Cardiff, you're going to be given an opportunity to some players that might have been on the fringe. Take that opportunity. You know, we've got a good record that we haven't lost back-to-back league games in the league. I think it was when we were in League 2, when we went up, Tranmere and Crewe, or Crewe then Tranmere, was the last time we lost back-to-back league games. So it's a good record. We always get a response after a defeat. So, yeah, for me, take that opportunity. If you're coming into the team, take that opportunity.
Do we think it's a blessing that we've not got any Tuesday games for the next 4 or 5 weeks? I think it is, so we can really get them onto the training pitch and hammer something in.
Yeah.
I mean, after a bad performance like that, I think the only thing you really want to do is go out as quickly as possible and play the next game to put it right. You know, it's all about the last result is the most important result.
But if you don't put it right, then You're better off being on the training pitch, I guess.
It's a hard one, but like I say, we're looking for a response on Saturday. Cardiff, really, really good team, really confident. So it's. But would it not be totally County to end up winning that game 3-0? Against Cardiff after
we did it after we got beat 5-0 by Wycombe, didn't we? So it's not completely off the cards.
No, like I say, that's just typical County. For us to go in the next game and absolutely look like what we're all worrying about. These all look like automatic promotions.
Yeah.
It's just that's the life of supporting County, isn't it? It is what it is. I mean, like I say, I'm not upset about the result losing. I'm not upset about the scoreline. I'm upset about the performance, the non-negotiables not being done. That they should be done. That's why they're non-negotiables. Working hard, running, putting your tackles in, them sort of things. That was the frustrating for me. That performance. The last time I've seen such a poor performance was when we lost under Simon Rusk away to Halifax.
Oh yeah. Oh.
That's where the performance-wise, not the scoreline, not the defeat, the performance.
I don't know. Did you not go to Tranmere away?
No, I didn't actually. No, I didn't.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But same again. Yeah. So we're not talking about. This is not a common thing. We're talking about, and that's why it's probably more frustrating because this isn't the norm. If this was the norm, and it has been the norm for many, many seasons and many, many years of that performance week in, week out, then we accept it. We understand. But it's not the norm, and that's what upsets.
The only thing I would say is that I do feel like the nucleus of the team has been ripped out with the outgoings in the last transfer window, and that's why, although you can say, okay, well, the Tranmere away was an anomaly. We were in, was it March, April time? That it certainly wasn't in the first couple of months of the season, I don't think. So I'm just not convinced that we've got the right blend of players in this transfer window, and I could be wrong. I mean, we could go on a 10-game winning spree here, and I'll be eating my hat and stuff. But
the Crewe and Tranmere game was 13th of February and the 17th of February, and then we went unbeaten the rest of the season to the last game of the season when we played. Obviously,
so we knew that nucleus of players could do it. We'd seen them do it. They'd had an amazing run before that as well. That was with Louis Barry, was it, when he scored all those goals? I think. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So we know that they can do that. I just don't know whether we've got the right blend of players at the moment. And Dave is going to have to coach them at the end of the day. He's going to have to coach them into a team that can look like a team rather than 11 players that have never fucking played with each other before, which is what they are.
Yeah, we've alluded to it earlier, but the amount of defensive shake-up that we've had over the transfer window was probably the root cause of that. Then having injuries to like Lewis Bate on top of that, and then Artu Hoskonen, who's meant to be our new commanding centre-back, getting injured right before the season starts.
And Callum Camps as well. We've really missed Camps.
So I'd like to be I'd like to be extremely optimistic. I am optimistic about it because when they do come back in and when they've come from the training pitch, things will improve. That's just going to be a fact. So I mean, we have to ride this early storm, I reckon.
We're just, we just got, like I said before, we're just four people with opinions, aren't we? And I'm sure there's people at that club know a lot more about football than we do, and they'll know what to do to put it right. We just hope that we see that on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I say, it's like I say, it's the performance. So it's attitudes and performance that's the biggest worry. I've got no qualms with Dave Challinor. It's not like, he's going to go or anything like that. He will get this right. Simon Wilson get this right. Clint Hill will get this right. Obviously, we all know whose fault it is. We all know it's Andy Mangan's fault for leaving. And if he didn't leave, it wouldn't have this happened. So it's all his fault. But we'll work it out. We'll find a new Andy Mangan who I think that'll come in or has come in, and it'll settle down, and we'll start scoring goals from corners again and defending corners properly. And it's
a really good point. It's a good point that you make, Dan, and I think a lot of us really don't understand how important coaches like that can actually be to a team. And you sometimes see it in the Premier League as well, don't you, when like a coach leaves and you think the manager is the guy that's like the wonder person, but actually it's a bloody assistant manager that's knobbed off to be a manager somewhere else, and results sort of suffer because of it. So yeah, that could be something to do with it.
Yeah, it's all marginal stuff. It's all marginal stuff. It'll settle down. You know, like I said, when we lost to Crewe and Tranmere, we drew the next 2 games. You know, it wasn't a massive, quick result. We drew the next 2 games, kept clean sheets, and we slowly started working our way back in again. We're just into September. Everything is still to play for. It doesn't matter where you are in September. I don't even know where we are, to be honest. I don't even bother looking at the league table yet, because for me, it's you know, it's not that important at this time of year. You know,
I think we're 9 or something, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. But 3 points is 3 points anywhere in the season. So we've lost another 3 points on top of.
And I'd say the frustrating bit is now, as I said it the other time, is last season's team would have beaten them 2 or 3-0. And that's the really, really frustrating, because that was, like I said, if it's beaten by a team that's played us off the park, put your hands up, and we've done it on here, and we'll say they were the better team. They were absolutely fantastic. And we've done it this season as well with, I think, Leyton Orient and Parts and Bradford in the second half, where we'll give credit to the opposite team if they're the better team. I just think it was 2 shit teams and we were the shitter team.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating bit about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up there, guys. Massive thank you to our podcast sponsors, as always. So Jimmy at Overpass Clothing and Steve, Edgeley Con Club Coaches. We'll be back again next week, reviewing the Cardiff City game, and fingers crossed we're not in for another therapy session. So until then, we'll see you.
See you later.
Cheers, guys. See ya.